Yes, I'm back with a Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and joining me this evening is my fantastic two amigos. One being Mr. Andy Gray, aka Ryan Clifford. How are we? And there's our good man, Mr. Barry Bannon. Boys, I feel as if I've not seen you for an absolute eternity. I was a wee bit of worse for wear last week when you were on, mate. But how's things, mate? It's good to see you again.
Hi, good mate. Good to see you're back to your job with self, mate. Obviously you're on the well last week. The boys missed you, but good to be back on and see you again, big man. I am good, mate. I'm back training this week for my injury and that, which always puts a smile on my face because I'm back doing what I love. So it's been a good week for me, mate, and I'm looking forward to the night.
Hi, I'm looking forward to this as well, mate. And as you said, the boys did miss me, and it did show, mate. Let's not get away from that. It did definitely show, and me man's sitting there smiling and now, but he'll not be smiling in a minute when I've got some information from. But anyway, Ryan, it's good to see you, mate. I see you're still stuck in that same position as you always seem to be these days, mate. How's things?
Same position, same t-shirts this morning and everything, mate. So I'm still trying to figure out the house. Still locked in here. I'm just eating what I can now, mate, as it stands. So, but no, good to see you back healthy, mate, as well. Obviously on the island this morning on the night shift tonight, mate. So we're back to obviously Celtic, mate. Good to have Barry on as well. Always good to chat to Barry, mate. So looking forward to it as well, mate. And good to see Barry back training as well.
Aye, mate. Definitely. And as you said, Baz, you're back doing what you love in terms of playing football, mate. And that's why we're on tonight as well, because we're back. And what brings us back on chatting Celtic again, proper, because it feels like when these international breaks are on, it feels like an absolute eternity, Baz, when club football takes a wee break and international football takes over. But now that obviously Scotland don't have any more games and the rest of the national teams, and the good news is Scotland qualifying for Germany next year as well. You'll be looking forward to club football as well, mate, and it all comes back very, very fast.
Hi, mate. It's seems as if these international breaks are way longer now than before. It's I obviously love watching football, and I think with the international breaks come up, you miss a lot of football at the weekends and stuff. Like, let's get it right. We watch football all the time, but international breaks you only really watch Scotland. Really, any other games are on, then maybe if it's Celtic players playing, but you tend to get a lot of football taken away because normal Saturdays, Sundays, sometimes Fridays, you're watching all the games, Premier League, Celtic. So I'm not really a big fan of these international breaks because I tend to not really take as much football in. And at the weekend, I went away with the wife there to London. Never watched any games when I was down there, so missed quite a lot of the games. Whereas if it was a normal weekend, the phone would be out on the table in the restaurant and I'd be watching it. So I'm glad that the football's back to normal, me personally, so I can get back playing in club football to watch Celtic again. Because I think, like you said, Celtic are ready to take off and start to pull away, I think. So I'm looking forward to it the next couple of months. I think it's a month again or something before the next international break. So hopefully they can hit the ground running on Sunday and start to pull away.
Fine, just as Baz says, mate, that's what we all look forward to more and more, mate. The fact that domestic football coming back with a bang, mate, and it's a case of let's get going, let's pick up where we left off, and let's keep the momentum going.
Aye, obviously, as Baz says, obviously I was away on annual leave myself, mate, for the podcast at the weekend as well. So
you weren't there, were you?
No, again, mate. No,
he missed you that much. He went into a depression and went a 3-day bender.
I was actually missing that much more from the rosy wine. That's how bad it was. But again, like Baz says, normally
but you got to tell us the truth now, because it certainly wasn't you paid for rosy wine, was it?
I'll keep that for other information. That's the whole thing show. No, but
have you still got a bottle?
I don't know. Want me to show you? I'm in this house still. So, but well, like Baz says, it's obviously even if you're away on holiday or you're out doing things, normally there's something to watch, i.e. a game, if it's Championship or Scotland, there's always something on. But
yeah,
it was just all rugby, and I'm not a rugby fan, mate. So you just end up drinking and stuff or eating food or
That's
whatever.
not what a couple of boys were telling me in that 10:30 show, by the way. I've seen a few rugby antics. I don't know whether you're a rugby fan or not, but
A
I
few
can tell
boys.
he loves a scrum.
I don't watch it. I love a bit of scrum, aye.
I
Loves
like
a bit of scrum, I know, by
I
the
like a
way.
bit of naked twister. I like that, by the way. Naked twister's good.
Aye. Although you took a half because the big con wasn't touching the wee horn anywhere and you had to go.
I'm still trying to think my big con just stands now. But no, obviously, having said that's good, mate. It is something you do miss. You miss football. So, we love Scotland. We love Scotland doing well, but nothing beats waking up and going watch Celtic, mate. So, like Baz says, Tynecastle on Sunday. Normally, you think these games. I think I said to you the other day and Alan this morning. Normally, you think these games are going to be hard, but Celtic are kind of took care of Tynecastle really in the last few years. I've not really had any trouble. Hopefully that continues. But and obviously as well, JP Brendan likes, as I said before we come on, Brendan likes Tynecastle. Apart from that game, I think you stopped the big win. He's done very well there, mate. So you've got to go into that game with confidence. And I do agree with Baz as well. With injuries coming back, NAWROCKI's might be fit. Vickers is fit. Guys at Scales, he's playing well. Guys who have into the team are starting to play well. So they've got a new manager, so they will be in a wee bit of a behind the scenes rebuild to see who he likes, etc. So we're not at that stage now. We're at that stage where Brendan roughly, I think, knows now roughly who he can count on. And I think you would expect Celtic to start kind of blocking up some more numbers and pulling away, hopefully.
Would you agree with that, Baz? In terms of momentum, bodies coming back, etc. You pick up Celtic picking up where they left off and kicking on.
100%. I think, like you touched on, boys' confidence are sky high. One being Liam Scales went away, played 2 games for Republic of Ireland there as well. I never seen the first game. I seen the second game against Gibraltar. I know it was probably poor opposition, but played very well again, done what he needed to do, never made any mistakes. So I think that's what his first couple of caps starting. So
yeah,
his confidence will be sky high. I seen Lagerbielke scored for the Swedes. So sometimes these international breaks can be a hindrance, but when you've got boys going away and getting their first caps and first goals, they come back confidence sky high, and that can only be good for Celtic going forward. Ryan touched on it there, with people being out injured. The international break's good for them. It's helped me with my club. We've been out, gives me a few weeks to get going and getting ready for when the boys come back. So NAWROCKI, I think, like Ryan said, he's probably nearly back now. Carter Vickers, he's probably right up to speed as well now, which is massive for us. So then you've got people like TILIO, who's probably had a good couple of weeks training as well. So all in all, it's been good. I don't think we've had any injuries, touch wood, with any of the boys being away. I think they'll come back off fit. Daisen Maeda obviously never went away with Japan. Hopefully he's back. So it's came at a good time. I know we were building momentum and it kind of stops that a wee bit, but you come back now and you've got 3-4 players who were out that are ready to come in and fight for the jersey now. So I definitely, mate, I think it's a strong Celtic team now, and it'll be a problem for Brendan to pick an 11, but it's good for the fans and the club going forward that all these boys are back fighting for a jersey now.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. People joining us tonight. And Jem on YouTube says, evening JP, Ryan and Barry. Hope everyone is well. Good evening. Philip joining us also from the YouTube. He says, good evening, folks. Hail, hail. Plunge is also joining us. He says, evening, boys. Good evening. And Paul Cook on the YouTube also. Evening, JP, Ryan and Barry. Hail, hail, boys. Good to have Celtic back again this coming Sunday. And then we've got one from John as well. Evening, lads. Good evening. Hope you're all well, folks, as well. Everyone that's messaging in. Hope you're all very well. Just as Baz says here, Ryan, in terms of guys coming back for injury, a big boost for, obviously, the team. And, obviously, a big boost for Brendan to dig out the Cocodamals as well for a headache he's going to have at the end of it all. I think we saw in the Kilmarnock game now, in terms of Celtic finding an extra gear. Hatate looks like a new signing. I hope that's the start of something under Brendan now. You know, maybe it's took him a wee bit of time to get used to the way of working of Brendan. And me and you were at the last Champions League game, mate. We seen Brendan really getting angry and irate at the time when they asked Hatate to press. Hatate doesn't press, and then he brings on Bernardo. So we were kind of wondering, is Hatate going to play against Kilmarnock? Is he not? It was a different Hatate that turned up that day as well. So we got that. Great news, lads, as you have mentioned. Mike NAWROCKI's back from injury. He's back training. He's been doing weights. He's been doing circuits. He's been doing stuff on his own to get himself prepared to be able to do stuff for the team as well. And the boys that never went in international duty, he's been training with them as well. So fantastic news. The boy TILIO looks a lot sharper as well, I'm hearing as well. So again, are we going to serious this lad now? Are we going to see him immersed domestically? Because he obviously can't play in Europe at the moment. And then you've got Bernardo. He's another one. Are we going to see him? He scored for Portugal's under 21s there as well during the break. So got lots of positives for the team. You've also got the emergency Lewis Palmer before the break. You know, the goals that we've seen him score. Looks as if he's got that in his locker, Ryan, in terms of, is he going to be that Jota player, you know, that wee bit of moment of magic in games that he's going to turn the tide towards us if things aren't going our way? Or is he going to be that luxury player that, you know, he's got that in his locker to get us that 3, 4, 5-0 victory because of the amount of quality that he's got. So again, mate, it's all positive and all exciting for us moving forward.
Yeah, especially NAWROCKI coming back. I did put on Twitter about an hour ago saying that for me it was big news. I like him, and somebody did say, like, what do you base it on? And for me, JP, I don't think you need somebody to play a full game to really know somebody's got small basic attributes to what a good defender needs. And I thought even Lagerbielke, you can see he's got attributes. He likes to play the ball forward. NAWROCKI always played the ball forward. And at Celtic, that's what we need. Because I know I'm not a professional player, JP, but I don't like it when guys are running like Johnson at full pelt and the ball's behind them. It stops momentum, then that team can get back in and the attack stops.
Yeah.
You want it always forward thinking, and NAWROCKI does that, Lagerbielke does that, Vickers does that, Scales are starting to date. So we're starting to have a lot of momentum in terms of defenders who can play with the ball at their feet and defend. The thing that's interesting for me, Baz, is the fact that NAWROCKI's now fit. Lagerbielke will be back in contention. Scales is starting to improve. Vickers is fit. Like you said, Tilio, because of the amount of games you're going to have in hard games, I think you've got Hearts and it's Hibs and it's Ross County away. I think 3 away games in a row, I think. And then it's Madrid, I think a double header. So I think that's where you use your squad, like you're saying, Baz. So is it Scales and NAWROCKI 1 week, Scales and Vickers 1 week? I think now this is where you start to, I'm not saying play 2 teams because you don't want to change too much, but you've got the luxury, just in terms of if you look at Closer Water, they've not got that luxury, but now we can actually put in quality, take out quality and put it back in, need be depending on what game you're going to play.
100%. Well, we've seen the difference for Celtic now and probably 6 weeks ago going into that Old Firm game at Ibrox is massive. Because we were panicking going into that game with injuries, but now you look 6 weeks down the line, all them injuries are back. We've signed more players in the last week in the window, so you probably would got 6 or 7 more options for that Ibrox game, which is massive because the likelihood is now that everybody's back fit, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 players out max, worst case scenario at a time now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've signed players since then, so we're built to do it now. We're built to either deal with injuries or if you want to change teams from 1 week to the other, cup games, whatever, Champions League games. But we've got a massive squad now, and we probably wouldn't have seen it, but we have seen it because of injuries. With the players that have come in, they're ready. They've done their job. Scales, Lagerbielke. We've seen it for the wrong reasons because we wouldn't want Carter Vickers or people like that getting injured, but they've come in and they've done unbelievable. So we now know that if there is bad injuries to certain players, that you don't need to worry because the players coming in have done the job in the business in the last couple of weeks, and let's get it right, they've got us 7 points clear at the top of the league, so we're comfortable. We're really comfortable with players and numbers. I just seen a comment there about Kyogo and Maeda being away at December. That could be a bit of a problem because I think that's the one place that we probably do lack numbers is a number 9. It is hard to go and buy a striker when you've got Kyogo because he plays every game, scores every game. It's hard to then go and bring people in that position because they know they're not going to play or they're going to be second fiddle. So that'll be when that time comes, it'll be a problem. But hopefully, like I said at the start of this podcast, we'll be well far ahead then, and Brendan will probably know about that anyway, and he'll have something up his sleeve, no doubt.
Yeah, I think December right now is probably a long time away when you've got the amount of games that Celtic play coming up. We've also got a Champions League campaign we're trying to negotiate through, and I think the game against them across the water in December will take care of itself when that comes along and that arises. Right now, I think we're miles away from even planning in that, because my immediate thoughts are on Tynecastle the weekend, and then soon after that, lads, it'll turn to Atletico Madrid next Wednesday night at Celtic Park. So, I think we've got bigger fish to fry at the moment, without wondering if that's going to be the case. Because I personally think that when that time comes, 3 of them won't be away altogether. I think one of them will be left behind. You always find that'll be the case. Might even be 2 of them, but it'll not be as panicky as what some Celtic fans probably think it will be. It never seems to happen that way, and I don't think the club will allow that situation to arise either. So I do think we will, we'll rectify that moment when it comes. Ryan, the other one I wanted to mention to you, mate, obviously, as Baz was saying there about the headache starting to happen as well. Another one's probably really benefited him in terms of this international breaks, Nat Phillips, because Nat probably had some fitness issues beforehand, whether he could play a full game, whether he couldn't. He didn't have a lot of game time in terms of his, the beginning with Liverpool at pre-season. I think he played 1 or 2 games and then he was left out quite a bit. And when you train, Baz, you know yourself, mate, when you train, you can only do so much when you train. You need to go on the park and actually practice those skills to get yourself match fit. Because training only allows you to get to a certain standard before. Training allows you to be ready to play the game. But when you play games, you need to play games and play consecutively to get that timing and, the way things are. So I think one big bonus for us, Ryan, will be Nat Phillips, because, again, I know we've only got him to January in the kind of short term, and then they'll look at that, whether they're going to extend that or not. But I do think that international break and having that 2 weeks, listening to John Kennedy's interview in terms of, the right good work into a few people, I do hope Nat was one of the guys he was referring to, because I really do like, again, a bit like NAWROCKI, as you said, mate, you only need to see snippets of somebody and you can see whether, right, okay, they're going to be able to handle this or they're not. And I quite like what I see with Nat Phillips.
Against Lazio, obviously, when you were at the game and they're comparing to people on Twitter, I'm like, I know we've all got opinions, but I thought Nat Phillips played all right. I didn't think him and Scales done anything wrong in the game. I thought it was quite comfortable. Obviously, I'm assuming either he wanted to play Phillips for Vickers for the weekend, or he did have a wee issue and he just didn't want to risk him, so he put Vickers on. But
I'll also like to address that one while we're on that.
No worries. So Phillips as well, he was on the bench for Liverpool just about nearly every week. When Van Dijk and Gomez and Matip were injured, he was playing. And JP, guys like Jurgen Klopp, when he keep you in a squad, a pool of 22, 20, whatever it is, if they didn't think you were up to it, these guys don't just keep you on the wage bill for no reason. So like Chelsea, they loan guys out willy-nilly. So if you're not up to it, you go away on low and all. So I
think they had a player caught that a couple of years ago, do you know? Willy-nilly.
Probably, aye. Probably did.
He ended up in Chile willy-nilly.
Chile willy-nilly. That's like in this person's house. I'm still trying to find it. It's that Chile willy. But no, I think that Phillips again, the experience he's had. I know he's not played millions against Liverpool, but he's still playing at that level. So you've got to be some sort of good capacity to play with Celtic. Again, JP, when was the last time we had? We've got Scales, NAWROCKI, Vickers, Lagerbielke, Phillips. Who else? I think that's it. 5 or 6 defenders. Welsh, there you go. So 6 defenders roughly, who you could probably say now could come in and do a job for you. Welsh is obviously going to have a lot of time on his hands to come back in and probably get anywhere near the squad at the moment due to injury because how long he's been out. But domestically wise, at least anyway, every one of them could come in and do a job. So when was the last time you could say that every single person we had could come in and just about do a job? But so in terms of recruitment, when they're fully fit, there was a lot of panic, even for myself in pre-season. We've only got 3 defenders, 4 were injuries. But see if you look at the squad now, it's starting to, obviously, I think now we've actually got too many players.
How much bleach you got left?
I've still got 1 bit of domestics and about 10 packs of something of Chris still sitting here. But maybe after Sunday I might be tanning off it bleach, but we'll need to wait and see.
I've got a pack of pickled onion here if you want to mix it up a bit.
I don't like pickled, mate. I'm not a fan of pickled. Pickled Bobby, innit?
That's not what you were saying on Saturday, by the way.
He was in a pickle on Saturday.
It's playing that naked twister in Dundee.
That's not a fiver, Ryan. That's a drawing of a fiver.
I've walked in 20p a toast in Dundee. That's brilliant. But on Nicky's question,
asking about with the letters in the barman's board.
On Nicky's point there, it's quite a good question because I did actually mention to Alan today about obviously Scales and Johnston did play for Ireland. He's not really touched. He's not really played yet for Celtic since he's come back in.
It's actually quite a good question when you think about it. I think a lot of Celtic fans have
like
kind of forgot about
Tilio. Like Tilio guys will probably forgot about Tilio because you've almost seen him. They'll probably forgot he was Mikey Johnston here unless you've seen him in Lazio on the bench. So again, I think it's obviously James Forrest still here. Some guys can forget about him. So we've got a lot of layers in terms of that side. So Mikey Johnston, for me, he's obviously got a lot of ability, Nicky, in terms of, I've always said, as much as we might give as fans, you might give players a wee bit of jip here and there for not be good enough for our thoughts is, but to come through Celtic's academy and managers still to keep him, JP, he must still have some sort of ability to be here in some capacity. Well, I think, I know, personally, I don't think he's good enough to come into this team right now and play, but again, what am I basing that on? Am I basing that on him being injured, or am I basing it on him just having cameo roles? When was the last time Mikey Johnston played with Celtic at 7-10 games in a row? We go, right, Mikey Johnston actually got ability here. We've never really seen the full fruits of him because in certain games, he's
No. The day, mate, he ran riot on FIFA for me. I was playing my mate earlier on the day. He was absolutely tremendous. By the way, see at the end of the first game, he got a new 5-year contract, by the way.
Let's just Ryan was scoring something and buying your deal away, you're going.
You'd have loved that or not, because Greg Taylor scored a penalty.
Right, I'm away to make your team, man. It's like I'll tell that. Look at me starting than that. No, but I think Mikey Johnston, it's quite a good question on him because I think he divides a lot of the, probably James Forrest as well, he divides a lot of the fan base in terms of if he's good enough now to play as you had the chance to play. So I think, Baz, I don't know what you feel, mate, but I think it just depends on how his body reacts to playing all the time, because I know he played in Portugal and he played with Ireland, but the demands of playing with Celtic, I think, in terms of what we're trying to do, I think it's totally different for Ireland than it is in obviously in Portugal, where, let's be fair, probably in Portugal, he probably came off the bench or started and maybe get a draw and it's, all right, you get a draw today, well done. But at Celtic, when you don't win or you don't play well, you get kind of scrutinised. So, but don't you think, Baz? But for me, I don't know if the sales went with him, if we've got enough quality here already. And I can agree with John as well. I actually said that about to John the other day as well. That's my dad, Barry. That's my dad. So I actually said to John as well that on Greg Taylor and guys like that, Ralston, see if they were playing with like Motherwell or like now, would they work for the Scotland squad? Probably no. So that's the same with Mikey Johnston. If Mikey Johnston was playing with somebody else, would you go and sign him? Probably no. So I don't know, Baz, but I don't know if he's the abilities. Is it going to be enough to get on this team? I think it's only down to him getting game time and maybe showing the fans how, if he's still got that to play at this level.
The football monitoring board's just telling me now this will be your last night. We're going to time to give your dad a chance now.
Aye, get him on.
I think he's got ability, no doubt about it. He's got lots of ability, but I just don't think. I think his time's probably passed him by. I think now, with a Celtic team now, how many, we're talking about centre backs, how many wingers have we got? We got Palma, Yang, Maeda, you got Abada,
Forrest.
James Forrest,
Tilio and on there.
Tilio. That's 6 wingers. Kyogo could probably play there if needed.
Maeda.
There's loads of wingers who I think are probably all better than them.
I nearly said Jota there and ended up a big lump in my throat, realising he's not there anymore.
I'll need to go to bed if you say Jota and start greeting man into the cover. No, I think he's got ability in abundance. I watched him against Gibraltar. I thought he done well. But it's a different ball game playing against Gibraltar and then coming into this Celtic team and going to Tynecastle at the weekend. I think the intensity that Celtic play at the minute as well. I know he's been injured quite a few times since he's been at Celtic, but I don't know if it's he could be. I think if he's given a good run in the team, I think I would put him in the same boat as probably like your Turnbulls and people like that. I think no doubt about it. If you give him a run in the team, if you give him a good run in the team, like Turnbull, they'll do a job in Scotland, and they'll probably stand out. But I think when it comes to the crunch and you're going against Rangerses and even at the weekend, and then your Champions League games, I think there's 5, 6 ahead of him at the minute in time, and I can't see him getting in front of them. They're young, most of them, and they're only going to get better. So I'm happy to see him back in the round it because I think he's a very talented boy, but I think maybe the same with Turnbull. It's probably a decision that he'll have to make in January that it could be a time to move on. I think being at a club for this long, and we've talked about has he played 6 or 7 games in a row? Probably no. If you've been at a club for this long and you've not done that yet, it doesn't look great, and it probably never going to happen after that. But I think he's one of the players that could move on, and we look and think, oh, there's one that we've let go, who's went on to do very well. I think he's got the ability to go and do that. But like I said, going back to it, we've got 6 or 7 wingers now that I think are ahead of him.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that you're spot on. We've kind of said on here as well, Baz, in terms of Forrest. Forrest is just at the other side of that. Forrest is, I believe every player has a shelf life at a club. And myself and Ryan have spoke. It's not because he's a bad player, by the way. It's just the fact that he's coming to that. Again, who's there? Palma, Yang. These boys are all young, hungry, ready to go there at the other end of the sort of development stage. Whereas Forrest, great experience, don't get me wrong. Brilliant to be around all the boys. Probably helps with, like say, Yang and, coming into the team, he can help them settle, tell them what's needed, what's required, what's there. Brilliant to have about the place. But in terms of game time and contributions, I think he's the same as Mikey on that boat. I think the two of them are at a cross junction now where they might need to start thinking if they want to prolong their careers, then it might be away for the club. Maybe not so much Jamesy, right? Because I think he might be different, right? In terms of, because he's been at the club his whole career. But like say Mikey, you mentioned them yourself, Baz, Davy Turnbull. Good players, very talented players. But they're in a team that unfortunately you've got guys like Matt O'Reilly, Rio Watati in front of you, who, unless Celtic are selling these guys the Mora for big dough, then you're going to be behind him. And it doesn't matter how good you are. These guys they've just got that wee bit extra in terms of the X factor. That's why they're in the team. And it's the same with Mikey. Very good player, very talented, a lot of skill and a lot of ability. But he's playing for a club that he, he's always up against mega competition. Probably one or two guys I would say are probably better than him in terms of where they are at the moment in their careers. And I think one of the commenters say, I think it was John, he says if Mikey right now was it maybe a Motherwell or a Hibs, or would you be going and buying him right now because his contribution over the piece? Probably no. No, it would be the answer. And again, I don't want to be disrespectful because he's out doing it. I'm sitting in the house talking about it. But it's what I see, and basically you're putting up a for instance in front of me there to give me that way of saying, right, do you think he would play? I or no? I don't. No, I'm being honest. I really don't. And I think if he was going to play...
Do you think there's much difference between him and the boy at Hearts, Barry Mackay?
Probably no, Baz, no. I also think that if Barry Mackay didn't play with Rangers, you'd probably say that boy's a decent player. He's quick, he's tricky, he's very creative for Hearts. It was, I think, even when Snodgrass was there, I think him and Snodgrass were the guys were Shankland, they three were kind of the most creative sparks. And like I say, I always say with Hearts, take away Mackay or Shankland. If Shankland doesn't score you goals, I don't see anything for Hearts. I know that might be me talking out of turn and me being disrespectful, but if Shankland's not on his game and Barry Mackay's not able to deliver to him, I don't see what Hearts get goals for. I know Bhoys has done well, but I think Shankland's a better. I don't rate him personally for Celtic, but in terms of a goal scorer, he'll score goals for Hearts, Baz. And I don't know what you think, JP, but I think Baz has put up a good thing there, mate. Take away that he played with him across the water. Barry Mackay is a decent player for Hearts. He's probably one of the biggest outlets, if not the biggest outlet. So I don't know what you think on that, but that's quite a good question.
I was going to ask JP as well. Do you think he could do what Liam Scales has done last season by going out and then coming back? Or I know he went to Portugal, but how many games did we see? Do you know what I mean? We seen Scales because he went to the same league that we watch. Do you think he could do a Scales by going to a Hibs or an Aberdeen, for instance? Hodge doing a jersey there, and then because it's no coincidence he's come back, Scales, because we've seen what he's done last season in this league. Few injuries. They look back at his games last season, then you go and play. You've done it last year. Do you think he's got that in him, or you think it's no? He's done?
Yeah, potentially. But it's a bit. I actually had this conversation with my missus. It's a bit like Celtic can't stand still and wait for that, though. We need to proceed forward. And who do we proceed forward with? Guys like Palmer, Tilio, Yang. These boys will unfortunately need to come in. So unless something miraculous changes in terms of Mikey's situation, is he going to go on loan to maybe a Hibs or a Motherwell or a team like that where we can see him every week? Understand, you read reports, you see it on social media. You know he was a fan favourite over there. And he was asked quite early, I think it was after his third game for them or something, he was asked quite early, myself and Ryan both seen that interview, and he was asked, will you be staying here? And he told the guy, it isn't an option for me to stay here. I've been told that I'm going back to Celtic. Now, I understand that might have been the plan for him then, but he's came back and he's found himself having to go through an operation for an ongoing problem that set his career back 2 years ago. And he's continued having that problem. So now he's had that operation, he's got himself back fit. I'm really surprised he's now getting a game for the ROI because he's not playing any football for Celtic. So it's a shock to me that he's playing internationally. Because again, what are they comparing his form to? Because realistically, boys, I've always seen, I don't know how you feel about it yourself, I've always seen you get to play for your country because you're doing well for your club. That's the way I've always seen it. I've always seen you do well for your club, that's why you get called up to your country. Unless you're Colin Henry, you've got something on a manager. Because honestly, I do not know. I know you're laughing now. I remember when Colin Henry was, mate, he wasn't even playing first team football week in and week out then with his team when he was at Coventry, and he was getting called up to the Scotland team. Now I know Scotland, aren't they? You know, we've no in a lot of positions through the years. We've not got like players like Ronaldo and Gareth Bale and these kind of guys, and we've never been blessed with that kind of talent. But they're hard working and they're dedicated at their, at their business. So if I was one of the other boys in the team and he's coming in and he's playing before me, I'm chatting to my manager's door and saying, what's going on? I'm knocking my pan in out there. And he's not even getting a game club level. But yeah, I've got three months in a row. I was player of the month and blah, blah, blah. So how am I not getting a game before it? So again, if I was in the ROI squad, I'd be looking at that and going, Mikey's not playing with the... Like, see if I was a Boy Robinson or, boys of that ilk, the boy Ogbenny and other boys, I'd be looking at that and I'd be saying to myself, I'm playing every week. He's not kicking a ball with Celtic and he's coming into the team before me. I'd be asking questions and chatting doors. So, again, I don't know what it's like now, but certainly when I was younger, growing up watching international football, the way I seen it is you played well for your club, you get picked for your country. It might be different now. Well, obviously it is different if that's the case. It might be down to you're in a moment in timing of being favourable from the manager, depending on who your manager is at your international level and your club level, because do I think Mikey Johnston will play any football for Celtic in the near future? No, I don't. So it might be that he could get loaned out to Scotland somewhere and come back and do the business. But he's getting on a wee bit in age. We're not talking about a young boy here. We're not talking about... We're talking about a guy who's really, at a time in his career, should be playing every week for a club, should be cementing his position in a team every week. We're not talking about a guy that's got 5 years to waste, out and loan and doing this and doing that. Not to waste, but you know what I mean, to 5 years to develop. So it could be a different scenario there. But who knows? I've been rang before. Just not on here, but years ago. Just let's make that clear now before we go any further.
But see, on Mikey Johnston, do you know how Baz that? Because obviously there couldn't be a chance in playing with Scotland. Do you think he's been told that he's going to be getting game time with Ireland? Because I think if he wasn't told he was getting game time, I don't know if he would have went, because he might have still thought he'd have played with Scotland. Do you think he's been told, listen, because you play with Celtic, we know of you, who you're playing with, what you've done, you'll get the jersey? Because I'm probably going to agree with JP. I've always said that even like you guys up here like Ryan Jack playing with Scotland and guys down south who have really done nothing, even get other England like Henderson about Saudi Arabia. I know what he's done, but you can't, in my opinion, you can't play. I don't want to say again guys who are not good enough, but I drop down your level and then come up to that. I think you're dropping and then get back up. I don't think there's guys in England that are far better at the other stage of your career. So don't know what you think that's what's happening with Mikey Johnston, Baz, but I do agree that to get phone in right away and playing when nobody playing with Celtic, I don't know how it's working that way.
I think it was his first cap, because he called up when he was at the Portuguese team in loan, wasn't he? And they were raving about him in Ireland. So he took off there and the Ireland seen him. I've seen a lot of people speaking as if he was the next McGeady, that similar kind of player. And I know international teams now are trying to turn it into a club environment, which is why you get roughly the same squads every time getting picked, unless there's somebody that's flying, do you know what I mean? And they have to call them up. But at the minute with Scotland, you see with Scotland, England, the teams that I know the teams that I look at and see how they're getting what's the same squad. It's mainly the same squads nearly every trip at the minute, unless there's injuries or somebody's come in. Like I've seen we tried to get the boy Anderson for Newcastle playing Premier League. You've got to kind of throw people like that in, but I think managers now at international are trying to turn it into club football, so they've got a close knit group and try to get that camaraderie, that they're a family. Whereas before it was national teams were, like JP saying, getting picked on form, so it would change a lot because people would go through rough patches, people would be playing well, be a lot of changes to different international squads. But I think that's changed a lot, and I think going back to the Mikey Johnston thing, last season when he broke into that Ireland team, he hit the ground running, and Ireland probably, have they got game changers like Mikey that can dribble? No, probably no, really. So he stands alone in that really for them, and I think that's how he's getting picked. There will come a point where if he keeps missing out and not playing at Celtic, there will come a point where it's going to be how, like JP said, people will be saying, how's he getting picked? But I think at the minute he's still got a lot of credit in the tank for last season when he broke onto the scene. And then we're speaking about him saying, how is he getting in? But he got man of the match in that Gibraltar game. He scored, and I think he got man of the match. I've seen him with a trophy. So he's probably going to get in November as well, after back of the last couple of games, because he's impressed the manager. If it's the manager stays in the job, he'll probably get picked for November's games as well. But I think the longer he starts, doesn't he play for Celtic, then it will come a time where he falls out that Ireland squad as well.
If you were Mikey, Buzz, what would you be feeling now? Would you be going and chatting with manager's door and finding out after Brendan, like, you know, I'm getting a game in the national team, how am I not getting a game here? You were struggling with injuries at one point there. He has been named in the Champions League squad as well, again, because he's, you know, he makes a quota for the homegrown. But it's when he's on the bench there, doesn't he get a game, and then he doesn't play, or he's not even near the squad the next sort of league game. So if you were Mikey, mate, what would be your thoughts and how would you approach it?
I've not seen enough of him, but I can imagine the type of player he is. I would imagine he's one of the better trainers. I would put a good bit of money on it that he's probably one of the best trainers every day at Celtic Park, because he's technically very gifted. So I don't know if he'll be knocking the door down. I wouldn't imagine so, but he'll be stuck in a hard place, because if you're doing well in training and you're not getting picked, there's nothing worse. I don't know him, but would he be backing himself to be better than some of the players that are playing in front of him? Quite possibly, because he is very technically gifted. I would say he's just as technically gifted as the other players. Has he got the end product that they've got, goals, assists? Probably no, but technical as in drifting past players, touching that, he's probably one of the better ones there. But he's in a hard place because he's probably training every day and thinking, I'm going to get in eventually if I keep training like this. But in hindsight, he probably won't, because, like I said, we've signed 5 or 6 players who are brilliant players and are going to be ahead of him. So I think he's got to probably be realistic, and if he wants to play football, because he's been starved of that at Celtic over the last couple of years, I think you've got to either look for a loan and back yourself to do well in Scotland and come back, or move on fully and start a new chapter in your career.
Ryan, what's your thoughts on that in terms of Mikey? If you were Mikey, what would you be doing yourself?
Well, I think I've spoken about it to you in terms of Forrest, and it probably goes the same way as Forrest. I know Forrest is, again, he's only 31. I think Forrest knows like he's 34, 35. He's still of age to contribute to maybe another team, but of every week with Celtic, I think, again, just my opinion, I don't think we can have just to come in and play 10, 15 minutes just to play him. It's got to be somebody off the bench to progress, and I think we've got a bit better now in reserve. So in terms of just looking at Forrest, I think Forrest would probably be better, again, either going on loan or just saying, look, I'm not going to get game time, just tell me and I'll go. because he is only 31. I think he's want to play as well. If he's want to prolong his career, again, he could have a plan, JP. He could be like Hazard at 33 about to retire. But who knows? We don't know his plan. So, in terms of Mikey Johnston, though, I'm agreeing with Baz as well that I think he's got to go and play football. If it means going on loan or if it's finding out with a manager, I'm training every day. Am I going to get a chance? Again, I don't know how it works. Baz will probably be able to tell me because he's still playing. I was never a guy personally. If I wasn't playing, I never said anything. I just trained hard and hope I get a game. Maybe that's why sometimes I didn't get a game because I didn't care enough. I don't know. But you see some guys maybe not playing one game. They're texting the manager or phoning the manager and his door. How am I not playing? So I don't know, JP. But in terms of Mikey himself, if it was me, if I was Mikey Johnston right now, I would want to go and get games because what is he, 25, 24, 25? Remember that age?
Roughly, I think he's about 20. He's just turned 25, is it?
Right, so he's not a young boy. He's been at Celtic for just about all his career. When is he going to get a game? Fully, is it 27, 28, 26? So he's got to think, if I'm not played yet, when am I going to play? So I think January he'll have a decision to make. I think, mate, if he's not kicked the ball for January, it'd be better off saying, look, just give me the summer to go. Because I'm sure this is his last year contract, what next year is. So he's not got long left at Celtic to prove himself. I did say to you, this would be his last season to prove himself. If he didn't get game time, either the club need to say, right, you need to go, we'll release you, letting you go, or we'll send you on loan for the last year of your contract. So I think on the piece here, I think if I'm Mikey, mate, you back yourself because I'm agreeing with Baz. Technically, I think he's very good to come through the academy, mate. You're not a bad player to come through the academy at Celtic. So I think if I was me, mate, I would try and get some game time somewhere else because if I'm not playing, it's all right getting paid and getting into that facilities and stuff like that. But if you're not playing football, mate, that's what you love. So I think that's what you would want to do eventually.
Yeah, definitely. I think every player in a squad would want to play, definitely. And it must be very, very frustrating for him in terms of, he's not playing and as it will be for, boys like Quan and, but again, it's probably a different thing for Quan because he's came from a new country. I mean, I asked the question on here on Monday night, mate. I think was it Monday or the time before I was on. How would any of you guys feel if you were to move from here to Japan? How long would it take you to settle up and get ready and settle into the team, settle into a new environment, a new time difference, a totally new culture altogether? Certain people might take a wee bit longer. Yang looks as if he's probably the one out of the two that's maybe going to adapt quicker. Again, they're two different positions, but as I say, it's quite frustrating for guys who aren't playing in the team. But as obviously the boys were on a day, mate, so I don't want to, bore people too long. But I'll ask you yourself, mate, in terms of an early team prediction for Sunday and how you think the team will shape up in Tynecastle.
I think you'll go strong because it's one of our toughest games that we'll face this season in the league. I think it'll be Joe Hart in goals, Alistair Johnson, right back, Carter Vickers. I'm going to go Scales. I think it'll be too early for NAWROCKI, so I'll go Scales and Greg Taylor left back. Midfield three, I think, speaks for itself at the minute. I think it'll be the same three: McGregor, O'Reilly, Hatate. And I think Palma, hopefully Maeda's back fully fit again. I think Maeda, Palma, Kyogo.
Right, short and sweet. I'll save my prediction for Friday. I'm about to finish up, folks, so I will see you all on Friday. And I will leave you with these lovely people. I'll see you again, guys. Hail, hail.
Enjoy, mate. See you later, mate.
Yeah.
See you, big man. See you later.
I think obviously Scales, I think Baz for me, as much as I think longer term, I don't think he's probably going to be here again. That's just my thinking. But I think that at the moment, I think it must be very hard to leave him out. I think if he did get left out on Sunday, I think you'd be saying to yourself, well, I've just played for Ireland, I've done well. So I think the manager would want to keep a bit of continuity in the team. So I think Scales would probably be one of your first picks on Sunday. And I didn't think 4 or 5 weeks ago that I'd be saying that, like many fans. So again, I think in terms of the team selection, for me, I think obviously Hart's got to be in goals. I think he'll probably more of the time until probably leaves Celtic as it stands at the moment. But I think the back four picks itself, to be fair. Obviously Taylor, Scales, Vickers, if he's no injuries for his back, and Johnson. So the midfield, I think Hatati's got to play. I think hopefully that's him. I don't see his assists for Kyogo, and so again he's starting to fire as well now. So I think he'll play. O'Reilly again called up to the national squad again. If he does get a cap, his value will probably go up as well. So McGregor, I think, picks itself. Didn't really play much for Scotland against France, so he's a bit fresher. I think Palmer and Maeda's got to play if they're fit. For me, I like Palmer. I don't think he has the pace of Jota, but you see he's got attributes to sort of win you the game, and obviously the wee man up front. I think it's just I think now it happens. He plays all the time now, and we're talking about strikers. Last year I was going to mention, but obviously JP's got to go. But there's obviously, I know people say why you bring it up, but big Jack and Marcus. I don't know if you've seen his header at the weekend. Again, I know it's maybe people are saying we need to give Ola a chance, and we all know Jack and Marcus probably left because he wasn't playing and wanted to leave, which is he's got the right attitude. I don't want to sit on the bench. I want to go and play because I'm good enough to play. Again, it just shows you. I know he's different for Kyogo, but I think for the European games, I don't think as yet O's done enough to say we can depend on him. But the guy who I've seen, Jack and Marcus, when he was here, if we had that sort of player that we could get, or be still here, I think it's somebody that would definitely help us because his goals and the way he plays the game, I like him. I really like him, Baz. I didn't want him to go. I think him and Kyogo as a strike partnership could even work. But I don't know what you feel on him, mate. But I seen he's going to the weekend, and I thought I still kind of wish he was still here. But I know the reasons why obviously he had to go.
Aye, mate, I'm in the same boat. I loved him and I miss him. He was brilliant for us. I think the biggest compliment you could pay him was he was playing. There was a period in the season where he was playing before Kyogo. He nailed down that spot for a bit, and Kyogo was on the bench. So, he's quality, mate. I like Big O as well, but I think, like you said, Giakoumakis is always gets a few years still on Giakoumakis, but I think Giakoumakis is just a wee bit better at the minute. O could turn into that and be a bit better because I think Big O's got more legs than Giakoumakis to stretch teams as well. He's quicker, but Giakoumakis was brilliant. He was a scorer of big goals as well, and his header the other night was unbelievable. I think it was he got in front of Scales actually and buried it. It was like a shot off his head. So I miss him. I think like you said in December he would be, if you had him sitting waiting in the wings, you wouldn't be too fussed about Kyogo, Maeda and all leaving. But definitely I think he was, that's the problem about playing second fiddle. When you're that good as he is, you're not going to really get people who come here and at that quality and sit for too long. You might get 6 months to a year, and if they're not playing, then they're too good to not play, really, players like him. So they'll be off, and I think that's what happened with the big man. It was strange that he went to the MLS because I thought still young and can play in a better league probably as well, but that was the only strange thing for me because I thought he could have probably went to a Premier League team and done a job there, but he went to the MLS, so it's I don't know what for, but he obviously just wanted game times and get promised that there.
I think in terms of the last bit I'll mention to you, mate, and I'll obviously let you go, so I know you're a busy man, mate, so the last bit would be in terms of the European side. That's something that I think, as much as the wee man's amazing, he is. He's. I think you hopefully get more goals now in this group stage. But I think certain games fit certain players, and I think the away games would have probably suited a Giakoumakis or somebody, because I think that Celtic, as much as we are free flowing and we do attack and we do have a lot of balls sometimes, even in the away games. Sometimes the balls just come back to you all the time because the wee man's it's not his game to hold it up and elbow guys, and he's maybe a link man on the channel and boom. So again, I don't know if that's maybe in January or if it's next season that we look at. Maybe again, I know it goes with want to sign somebody to then sit second fiddle and they'll be happy and go again the next year, but to have that option, similar to a McDonald and Hesselink type partnership, do you think that's an option that potentially in Europe would be beneficial? Is because, and I mean beneficial as somebody who's already of age, 26, 27, had that experience to kind of help you, because I think certain games, I'd rather somebody like that, as much as Kyogo's brilliant and he's a top quality striker, I think he suits the home games better than maybe the away games because your game's got to change and you've got to adapt.
There will be games where, like you said, you could do with a old-fashioned 9 kind of thing. But I just think with the style that Angie's played and Brendan's played, Brendan never really had that. Even at Leicester, all his strikers were off the shoulders. Iniacho, Vardy, he brought Patson Daka. They're all strikers who are fast and want to stretch the game. So is that why he's not getting as much game time? Probably because he's merely a hustle and bustle striker that will throw people about. I don't think that striker suits Brendan. But like you said, I think, like I touched on with you before on here about Celtic being naive in Champions League nights and the big games, that's one of the problems. I remember watching Celtic last season with Giakoumakis, and he started at Parkhead in one of European nights. Was it? Did he start against Madrid?
Shakhtar as well. He scored against Shakhtar. Madrid and Shakhtar, I think it was.
I thought he was brilliant, and it was just fair, like you said, when you're under a bit of pressure like you are going to be in the Champions League nights, the ball wasn't coming back because he was getting a holiday at it, and bringing other people into play or winning fouls and taking the sting out the game. Like whereas you said with Kyogo, we're always looking for that ball in behind, that perfect pass to get him in, or so you've no really got on winning fouls and taking the sting out of the game. The ball's constantly in play. It's either you're getting in or it's coming back. But in Champions League nights, like I said, when it's even games and that, you probably need somebody like your Giakoumakis was perfect, holding the ball up, winning fouls, clocks ticking down. He was just like an old-fashioned, experienced number 9, and I think that's what we probably lack in Champions League nights at the minute. Is that, but it's hard to say because how can you drop the wee man? Do you know what I mean? And to change to a 4-4-2 to keep him in and get a striker up there with him. Does that open the midfield a bit more and teams start to dominate the ball? And it's hard, but I would love him still to be here because I was a massive fan of him, and we all know that Kyogo is in the past has been injured for certain parts of the season. So could that happen again this season? Hopefully no, but we know we shoulder in that, it's holding that off. There's going to probably come a point this season where we've not got him for a period of time. And like I said, what is Brendan going to do? Because does he want to play Owen? He's going to have to probably at the minute, unless he goes with, I think he'll put Maeda through there, if I'm being honest, if Kyogo does get injured. Because I think he's more a number 9 for Brendan's type. So I would just love to see Giakoumakis still at Celtic, because I think in the big nights, Champions League and Old Firm games, he was brilliant for us.
I think when you're talking about kind of holding the ball up and getting fouls and stuff, the game that came to mind was the Ferencváros game away from home when he came on. I think we were only 2-0, or it was still a bit edgy, of 2-1, I think it was. And he came on and he was really good. He was getting fouls, and that's what I think we miss in Europe. I'm not saying it's, well, it probably is experience. Because I find like Joe Hart, I know this is what the programme to do with the manager. It's just the club, it's the culture of the club are doing things quickly, but with the rushing of the throw-ins, corner, I know that's wee petty things, but I think that's stuff that in football, if you can take any advantage, if it means to wasting time and get a booking, just take it, because it gets you up the park, it gets you settled. And I don't know if that's me being petty, some criticism by the European side, but I think for me that's it's one of my biggest pet hates is when we're rushing things, even though we're nothing each at home against Madrid. We're rushing things, and we're just, if it means take a draw, take a draw. But I don't know what you think on that. You obviously play yourself and you know that side of the game. But for me, that's something I think we've never really learned. Like, you see all these teams in Spain, they roll about my ankle, they take a minute to get the physio, and then it takes sting out the game. I don't think we do that. Even in Scotland, I don't think we do that.
We're always the thing with Celtic at the minute is under Ange we had one way of playing, that was it, and I loved that about him. He's done it at Tottenham, getting success again.
Yep.
I just think it comes a point at the highest level in the Champions League games, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think you need people like Giakoumakis is coming on to see a game out, to run the clock down, to hold the ball up, get you up the park. You can't keep playing the same way and passing the ball around, because they're top teams. They're going to come press. Celtic might have to go long at times when the press is good, because these teams in the Champions League, their press is good 99% of the time, which means sometimes you need to beat the press by going long. But we've not got that option, so we always need to try and play our way out for the back. And that's the other night. I know O came on in the Lazio game and we conceded late on, but I thought he done all right. I thought he did win a few fouls. Maybe a few times his final ball let him down, but I thought he'd done all right, and that's what you want to see games out. I know it's contradicting myself because they went and lost the game in the end, but I thought he'd done all right in the time he was on the park, and it was the right time to bring him on. So hopefully Brendan obviously knows, and he's learned over the years probably, and that's why he brought him on the other night. I think they obviously looked as if they settled for a point, they were dying for a point, they were time wasting. They got lucky and won the game, but I think Brendan brought on to take the sting out the game kind of thing as well. No settle for a point, but whereas maybe a set play, Big O could have got his head on it or something like that. But I think he will use him in the Champions League more than he does in the Saturday games at Parkhead. I think he knows, and he's learned for past Champions League campaigns, and knows that probably you do need that sort of striker to come on and run the clock down by winning throw-ins with his strength, for buying fouls off centre-backs with his body, using his body. So hopefully we do see him a bit more and he does improve. But like you said, going back to the first question, I would still have loved the big man to be here, because I think he was a perfect foil for Kyogo when Kyogo wasn't there.
Oh, I loved him. I was even shouting for him we should be playing the wee man sometimes, because he was just a natural goal scorer. I think he went through a phase of playing, maybe having 2 or 3 touches, and he scored just about every touch, which is a guy at that level. I think it's fantastic. He might not be the best after the ball, but he was always there. And obviously Big O, with the amount of games we're going to have recently coming up in the next few weeks, could he get a start at the weekend? Then Kyogo plays at the weekend during the week, so I think we've got a luxury of that squad, Baz. But again, amazing to chat to you again, mate, getting your knowledge and talking Celtic. I'll not keep too long because I know you're a busy man. This podcast, if you haven't watched it before and you're now watching us tonight, it is sponsored by AB Entertainment. AB Entertainment is sponsored. The man is Alex Beveridge. He normally is in the comments, but he's working tonight. Alex holds an entertainment company for all your entertainment purposes, be that karaoke, bingo, any birthday party you can look for, kids' parties, special birthday parties, atheists, any karaoke events, anything at all. Alex is the man to sort you out. If you do mention the podcast, that you have watched on the podcast, Alex will get you a wee cheeky deal if you mention the podcast. And he is a great guy as well. He is getting fully booked, so I would absolutely advise to get a hold of him very soon. That's his contact details and his WhatsApp. It's 07845 746092. Again, 07845 746092. You can get Alex on all social media platforms as ourselves, and if that's your best chance to get a hold of him, contact us and we'll get a hold of him for you. But that is Alex's details there. But again, Baz, it has been fantastic talking to you, mate. Hope the weekend goes well for you, back fit again, mate. And until then, mate, take care, and I'll see you again, mate. Take care.
Brilliant, big man. Obviously,
Cheers, Baz.
in a
You
bit,
too,
pal.
mate. Take care,
See you.
mate. Bye bye. Hail, hail.